Hello, Josie here. Are you ready for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And are you sure? Okay, here you go. Here we go. This world is obsessed with looks. They're obsessed with trends. They're obsessed with a lot of stuff that just really honestly doesn't matter at the end of your life. But one thing is really important that a lot of people do not talk about because they're so focused on trends, they're so focused on looks and aesthetics. Your health. Your health. That's most important. Making sure that what you're taking in is not going to be detrimental to your health. And yes, I'm talking about food, but I'm talking about so much more. The friendships, the relationships, the boyfriends, the girlfriends, other pollutants, drugs, alcohol, what you're ingesting mentally into your brain, your thoughts. Those can definitely affect your life, your outlook on life, and your outlook towards other people. Let's talk about your health in regard to what you ingest and what you intake into your body. Look, the last week or so, I have been looking and or watching off and on videos of content creators that are eating certain foods from fast food establishments and or food restaurants, and the gluttony that they are showcasing and displaying. And not all of these people, but a lot of them, they're not fat. They're not per se unattractive. But all those foods that they're eating, the way they're eating, that's going to take a toll on their bodies. Possibly sooner than later. And I know the reason why they're doing it for content views. Let me show myself with this large tray of food from this establishment that's well known, that's probably going to get me acknowledged or seen. Let me gorge out on this food. Let me just go to extremes with how I'm eating it, how I'm ingesting it. And that's going to turn people on. That's going to make people want to go and get this food, right? Those foods can really hurt your body. They can really affect your vessel. You know, God tells you in the Bible as well too what He wants you to eat, what is acceptable to eat and what is not acceptable to eat. I'm not going to lie to you. I have not adhered to everything in the Bible. Nobody has. Especially when it comes to that. But there are foods that are meant to sustain your life for a longer period. But if you choose not to eat those foods, it could potentially shorten your life. And how many cases, how many people have been a testament to their lives, their health going downhill because of not only their lack of exercise, but their lack of willpower when it comes to eating certain foods. You know, years ago, one of my grandmothers, when we would go travel to see her, she liked cooking fatback, which in short is basically like chicharron. She liked it for cooking fatback. And the fatback, it was good. It was really good, you know? But that was not something that she should have been eating. And that's something that we really should not have been eating. But we did, and she didn't care. And it affected her health. That was one of the things that affected her health. Some people have come to the idea that they would rather just, do whatever they want, enjoy their life however they want, engage in whatever they want, whatever it is. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad. If it makes them feel good, they'll do it. There's a song by Nisi Williams that I enjoyed listening to called Do What You Feel. And even Denise Williams, even she renounced her like of that song and her view of that song. Like she felt bad for releasing that song. She felt guilty rather, because she was basically telling people to do what you feel. Not everybody should do what they feel. You really shouldn't, because doing what you feel can get you really caught up. It can get you messed up. It can get you in a bad position, in a bad place, in a bad space, in a bad relationship, bad circumstance, And back during those times, what was the thing that was really popular? It was cocaine. It was partying, it was drinking, excessive alcohol, cocaine, engaging in sex with different partners, and just doing what you feel. That's not what God wants you to do. But, people do it anyway. They do what they want to do. And they'll feel justified in doing so because they're grown, they're an adult, But what about God? What about what God says? And once again, we're dealing with some hypocrisy here. We're dealing with some hypocrisy because you have a lot of people that love to use that word, the Bible, to attack and belittle and accuse and assault other individuals. But they will never turn that Bible towards themselves and judge themselves or bully themselves or attack themselves with their behavior. And God really has a problem with that. It's doing that where God will have to basically teach you a lesson. That you're no better than anybody else out here in this world. So what makes you, who makes you, or who made you judge, juror, and executioner? So he just might, allow your health to fail. But hey, he told you what to do. You chose not to listen. You chose not to do it. You chose to ignore it. You chose to do what you wanted to do. You chose to do what you felt you could do. And so there's a consequence for that. I haven't gotten away from the main topic, and in fact, I expounded upon it. Being careful what you ingest, what you take into your vessel. It's not just food. It's the music you listen to. It's the people that you listen to, the advice that you take, the friends that you invite into your world, the relationships, the sexual partners. All of that has an effect on your vessel, on your body, on your spirit. Your 3D form, yes, you're not going to keep it forever. That's true. You're not going to keep your 3D form forever. But you want to sustain it for as long as you possibly can. That way God can use you the way that He wants to use you, because your vessel is not yours, it's God's. That's God's temple. But you want it to be selfish. You want it to be arrogant. And you want it to defy what God asked you to do. Well, there are consequences for that. And you're going to take those consequences with your spirit as well, too. So don't just think that because you no longer are in a 3D body that you destroyed, that you abused, that you did what you felt you wanted to do in. Don't think for 1 minute, for 1 second, that the consequences of your behavior are not going to follow you with your spirit into your next 3D form for you to learn the lesson. I'm going to leave it at that. Gotta go.